Hello everyone, today we have a Lasher build, and I'm going to be 100% honest, I have been wrapped up in a lot of Marvel Rivals, a little bit of Pokemon Pocket, and Snap I haven't got to play as much, so I just barely unlocked Lasher. And so I unlocked him today, did some brewing, and found this list that I absolutely love. When I sat down to record, I went 9-2, and before that, just to give you guys a little bit wider sample size, I played about 30 games in my testing just on my phone, and was able to main close to a 70% win rate over those games as well. And so the deck is a Lasher buff deck. When we look at Lasher, he's a 2-cost, 2-power, but he has the negative affliction onto the opponent's side, so at bare minimum, he is a 4-point of value of 2-cost, which 2 costs are typically around 3 and 4 power cards, and so he really doesn't have to be all that buffed up or all that crazy to get the value. I don't think you need to go crazy and do like Okoye or Nakia. I feel like those are still trap cards. I feel like they are not great most of the time, and they don't really impact the game enough to warrant them in most cases. But the ones that do warrant running, we have Forge, we have Galacta, and we have Gwenpool. All three of those are fantastic just value buffers that come in, offer a lot of impact onto the game, and they have a pretty big body as well, coming in at 6 power for the 4-cost ones. And so they don't kind of hinder you from playing on curve and competing for locations, competing for priority if you need it. And so looking at our deck, what cards go well with Forge, Galacta, Gwenpool? Well, it's going to be a like Brood, Surfer value style build. So Brood, Sebastian Shaw, we have the newly released Rocket Raccoon just because he is one, incredibly versatile. You can play him into your Jean Grey lane and then move him out later. You force the opponent to give you that affliction and then you move him out later. And you have a really versatile 3-cost card that also scales, also gets buffed by your Surfer. We have Jean Grey, which pairs very well with both Lasher and Rocket. You can guarantee that the opponent has to play into the Lasher lane. If they didn't on turn 2, you can then follow it up with a Jean Grey, so they have to. So you're going to be able to guarantee that you get that value from the Lasher. You can do the Jean Grey into the Rocket, as I said earlier. That way you're making them give you that affliction, you're letting your Rocket scale, and then you just move them out later if you need that power elsewhere, and they maybe threw a whole bunch of low power stuff in the Jean Grey lane. We have Sebastian Shaw and Brood, which are both fantastic. We have Agony, which is kind of a niche. You could probably cut Agony, honestly, but I really like the potential Agony into Lasher. Agony into Rocket's not bad. Agony into Sebastian Shaw isn't awful either. Agony into Brood, it doesn't work how you would want it to, but it still buffs up one of them by 2, so it is what it is. It's not awful. And then my tech card of choice is US Agent. US Agent is one of those cards that whenever the meta is in a very heavy, high-cost state, he is so valuable. Whenever it's something like Kitty Pryde, Angela, Athena stuff, his value is just non-existent. But right now, we, at least from what I have witnessed and seen, we are in a very heavy, high-cost card meta. So things like Doom 2099 is still floating around. Other decks that want to run and utilize a lot of 4, 5, and 6-cost cards are absolutely hamstrung by the US Agent. You can drop US Agent, and that kind of protects that one lane where they can't really do as much impact into it as they would want to, and that leaves you kind of free to focus on the other lanes if it is one of those decks that can't really afford to lose 8 to 12 points of power by stacking 3 of their higher cost cards into the US Agent lane. And so sometimes they just have to give it up altogether. We're gonna go ahead and jump over into a couple of games. Thank you guys, as always, for being here. If you notice, my headset is broken. I sat it down on the table, and I came back, and it just was cracked. And so it's rigged. I have duct tape, but it still kind of flops. So if you notice that through the video, I apologize. It's not gonna be level until I can find myself a new one. We're gonna go ahead and jump over into a couple of games. Thank you guys, as always, for being here. I hope you guys enjoy. At 5, we can move it over into the Sanctum Sanctorum as a way to potentially win that one. They could also do their Space Stone, but they would have to use a 6-cost card in the Sanctum, which I think is pretty costly if I'm being honest. Galacta gets tagged by US Agent. It's either Galacta or Gwenpool. Gwenpool has some decent targets, but Galacta can help us with Sebastian Shaw plus a rocket. Let's do Galacta. And if we want it to survive, we want it to live, then we need to play something lower than 6 power here. Otherwise, there's a risk that we lose it. So that we can fight for Sanctum, I'm going to go just a Rocket Raccoon here. And we'll play the Rocket away from the Galacta. If they play a card that's higher than 6 power, then kudos to them. And then we would lose the Galacta, but not the end of the world. They play their big Thanos over into the left lane. Impressive. But is it impressive enough? We go this is 3, 6, 7. We can go Shaw Surfer is not bad. I think that's probably our highest power output. 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17, 18, 19. It's not awful. I think we have a decent shot here. Since they sent their Thanos into Warrior Falls, we're just going to give them that location because US Agent here is kind of protecting us from them doing anything incredibly large. And so I think we just move the rocket and... Wait. Daredevil. I know that you can see kind of the future-ish. You can see pretty much everything. Your perception skills are immaculate. But you overlooked the Rocket and Groot combo being able to steal away the Sanctum Sanctorum. We'll take the 2 cubes. I don't know that it's deserved, but we'll take them. Let's jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have Mr. Jefferson. The first location is the Mirror Dimension. We have a little bit of Agony, so I think we lead off with Agony. And then we'll go from there. If we get Lasher, great target for Lasher in that Agony lane. If we don't, Sebastian Shaw is not a bad follow-up. So they skipped on one. We're going to go ahead and play US Agent into the Pet Mansion. Ooh, the Nebula is a little scary. We don't really have anything that we want to just repeatedly play in that lane. I guess we can do something like Rocket and Groot, hope that they follow up with a card here, and then we can play it there, move it out later. We can also do just Hope Summers. That allows us to do the Rocket and Groot next turn while buffing up the Hope Summers. I think we do that. I think the odds of them playing in mid are pretty low. Turns out it was actually fine. So with Magic, it's now looking more like a She-Hulk, Infinite, maybe high Evo style of deck. Oof, that Fisk Tower hurts our Rocket and Groot game plan so drastically. Woof. Okay. So I guess we go ahead and play Galacta and we let the Nebula scale for one turn. I fully expect them to skip on 6 into 7. There's not a whole lot that we can do about it. Ooh. Doom 2099. We didn't really bring a big counter to that, as unfortunate as that may be. I'm going to go ahead and go Rocket and Groot mid. We stop this from scaling. We can go Brood on 6 or Sebastian Shaw on 6 into a Brood on 7. Let's see what it looks like. US Agent in mid, as their like Doom 2099s or Doom bots spawn over there, is actually really helpful for us, unless they have or somehow spawn a Luke Cage in their deck. Otherwise, we're in a pretty good spot. I think this one becomes like a Gwenpool Sebastian Shaw situation. We leave the Gwenpool bonus for a Brood, potentially. And then we can always move Rocket and Groot here, do like a Brood. I know we take the -4, so we'll see if it's even worth it. And then we'll do the big Brood in Fisk Tower. And then we also have the additional buff or scaling from Surfer. Whoa, they go, okay, Dr. Doom. And so that mid lane is very small. I mean, it's going to scale a bit more. once their Doombot spawns. But even another one, it's going to give them a total of an extra 4, which I think we have that outright have it. So the 25 on the right is scary. Forge is good. Forge is great, actually. Forge is huge here. We go Forge, Brood, which is going to be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then we leave the Rocket Raccoon alone. We just Silver Surfer it. Oh, and they snap on us. Oh my goodness. I want to snap back, but we're just going to leave it be. I guess if they have, what, an Goliath? I'd be Goliathing to you if I didn't say that that was very scary. Does this deck run an Goliath now? Of 18. Not really doing anything for this right lane. Huh. I almost want to move Rocket over just for the safety. Now that I'm thinking about it, Goliath is very possible here. No, just a War Machine. Brave snap by Jefferson. Very brave snap by Jefferson. We have the massive Forge into the massive Brood, which is awfully Brood of us. It Agony merges with the Brood, but it's after the spawn, so it's not like a major deal. But we have the Silver Surfer coming down. We absolutely dominate mid. We absolutely dominate left. They can have the right lane. We'll take our 4 cubes. Thank you for the boomer snap, Jefferson. We'll take the 4. Let's jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have Vash. The first location at Sinister London. I don't know about you, but a double Rocket and Groot, a double like big buffed up Lasher, double gwenpool into a big Lasher sounds awesome to me. We're not going to play him yet. We could go ahead and play it out. We're going to wait. We're going to play it patiently. We're going to wait. And oof, Death's Domain. Okay. Either we go Jean Grey. Yeah, let's go ahead and go Jean Grey. Next turn will be... I like the idea of Galacta, but I also really like the idea of a double Gwenpool bonus. We have the potential to just go crazy with it. Double US Agent, okay. That is going to afflict our Gwenpool, but that's going to be about it for now. We can also just play into mid because we did do the double Jean. Let's go Gwen and Gwen. Then we'll see what we hit. Turn 5 is going to be a Rocket Raccoon double Lasher situation. Unless they change Sinister London, then it becomes a big issue. Otherwise, we're quite content on staying with the snap here. They're running Valentina, US Agent. It could be a oof. Honestly, it could be an Ajax deck. They're really the only ones I see run Valentina because they typically will run like a Luke Cage. But they could just be snapping because they saw Jean Grey, and she's very rarely used, and when she is, it's usually not very good. But I do like a little bit of control nature with like the Lasher or even the Rocket Raccoon. Being able to fill it up and then move it out later is really good tech. Man, they snapped and then roped us. Okay, here we go. The double Gwenpool, let's see. Lasher, good. Oh, and then Rocket and Groot, that's fine. Lasher is going to be a mass... Oh, it is a hazmat off into the double Shadow King. Ooh. Rough. At least we know Shadow King is out of commission. Double Lasher, double Rocket Raccoon. Is double Rocket Raccoon, they can both move. It's very nice. The issue being... Lasher if they have a Luke Cage. Now, we have a really big... Lasher. So if they don't have Luke Cage, this is a 16 power impact, which is nuts for a 2-cost card. Absolutely insanity for a 2-cost card. And then not to mention the second one, but that's because of Sinister London. All right, so they do, whoa, a Living Tribunal. Interesting. That has to be created by Valentina, yeah. And so now a loot cage would help them out a lot. Being able to bring this one back from that -9. I think it becomes a... We move Rocket... Actually, I'm going to move Rocket over into this right lane. We're going to double up on the Rockets over here. We're going to do a regular Sebastian Shaw, a double Silver Surfer, boom, boom. And then in case they don't have the loot cage, we're going to double activate the Lashers. See what happens. See if he stays. I can't see him having a good enough output to stay. But maybe. Maybe. Oh, okay. Never mind. I was going to say maybe a Legion, but we have Prio. Wow, I don't know why I emphasized it so weird. All right, so big Sebastian Shaw coming down in mid. We have the double Surfer, which helps out our left lane a touch in case they have something crazy. But as it is right now, the big Lashers coming in. There is the loot cage, which you hate to see. Red Guardian coming down on the right, and so it's not going to be big enough. They steal back the... No, they don't steal back any of them. We take left, we take mid, we take right, and we will gladly take the 4 cubes. Let's go ahead and jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have Maximus. The first location, Machine World. Not bad. And Titan. Titan's not going to help us at all. We could do Forge into, like, a Sebastian Shaw, but I think I'd rather go, like, a US Agent, and then we follow that up with a Jean Grey into, like, a Galacta. Maybe. A Cosmo... Okay, we don't... we don't go Jean Grey. Fine. I don't really want to just drop a Sebastian Shaw, though. I guess we will. Not ideal, but it's fine. Rough stuff. All right. They go Rocket and Groot over to the right lane. I don't imagine they move it just yet. Ooh, we get a Forge Lasher situation. So I say this turn we go Galacta. I'm going to go ahead and play it over into Sokovia just for giggles. We're going to play Galacta. Next turn is going to be a Forge plus a buffed up Lasher. Probably here. And then we can play on from there. Let's see what they went with the Rocket and Groot. The Gwenpool. Okay. Big, beautiful buffs sitting around. Let's go Forge. We go Big Lasher, which is going to be 4, 5, 6, 7. So they play something in Titan. We are just sitting in wait. We also have the buffed up Brood, which is going to be 5, 10, 15, 7, 14, 21 after Surfer in the left lane. Even if we end up losing Sokovia, it's okay. All right. We go ahead and let their Rocket and Groot scale some more. Unfortunate, but big Lasher for us. Ooh, hit us with a Red Guardian. So Galacta is still in action. They go Penny Parker, so they could go with a Spider this turn. I don't know if they would ever want to, honestly, but they could. They could do it. So if they move this, if they move the Rocket and Groot out, do we ever have a chance to win? It's 4 right now. I don't think we ever have a chance to win the right lane. So I think it becomes a big Brood plus, honestly, maybe a Surfer left plus Lasher mid, which is going to be a -7. This is going to be an extra +5. So we get a pretty good output for it. So even if they move the Rocket here, I think we have the benefit. We know that they don't have Cosmo because that was discarded. We maybe have to look out for an Alioth. But it feels like maybe a strange deck to run Alioth in with the Gwenpool. Because usually with Gwenpool, you want several lower cost options to get full value of the Gwenpool herself. Okay, so they do move the Rocket. They double play in this left lane. Unfortunate. But they go Spider mid. It's fine. That's 8. Unless they move... Oh, I was going to say, unless they move it over into that left lane, then we might be in trouble. Plus the Aranya. Oof. So it's 5. We spawn, and then it negatively afflicts us by 1. So no, we're fine. Even with the impressive shifting of all of that power over to the left, we are able to overpower that left lane. We go down to 21. They go up to 18. We single-handedly solo the mid lane. I guess not solo. They abandon the mid lane, and we lose the right lane. We will take the 2 cubes. Let's go jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have Ego, and hopefully his Ego can take a hit because we're going to try and swindle some cubes from him. We could go Forge, Jean Grey, Forge, Sebastian Shaw. Yeah, I think we probably don't hold on to the Forge. Some games you want to hold it for like a potential Brood or Lasher or whatever the situation it might be. But in this one, I don't think that's what or how we're going to play it. If we end up drawing like an Agony, then I wholeheartedly say next turn we cap out the White Hot Room with Agony Jean Grey. That way we have the big power output or burst. So Shocker. Let's go Gwenpool for now. With it being Shocker, we know that they're going to have a lot of negative affliction style stuff, which is unfortunate when and if they get a Luke Cage. If we want to get the extra energy, we also have to cap out this lane this turn, which is unfortunate. But between the Gwenpool and the Galacta, I think maybe we can salvage it. It's just going to be real tight. So big Luke Cage does help out their Shocker. Not a shocker to see. And then we get good old Lasher. Say we go big Brood over here. This one gets replaced, but we still get 612. So then we can try to focus on like a Jean Grey Surfer left lane situation to try to maybe steal this one as well. That way they have to focus on all 3 lanes. We have a really big power output. I don't know that they're going to have enough burst in their arsenal. This is one of those situations where I probably would have snapped a little bit earlier, seeing the kind of slow play with the Hydra Bob and then Shocker and then a skip. But fine. They go 1 card in mid. I'm not sure what they're gambling over to the right. Maybe like a She-Hulk or Hazmat, it looks like. Yeah, that's a risky Hazmat for sure. They do have the mid lane. And Ajax decided he would calculate 1 at a time there. We will take the 2 cubes from Ego. Let's go ahead and jump over into one more. All right, next up we have Mr. Luck Enjoyer. The first location is Monster Island. Hopefully they enjoy not having any luck and it being ours. So we have Forge. We could do the Forge into like a rocket and get a little bit of value in Kiln and then move them out later if we don't need it. We could also just go Lasher. I know it's only going to be a 2, it's a 4 power impact, which, I mean, it's the same impact as a Forge. It just, it doesn't have as cool of a flare, if I'm being honest. But I think we go Lasher. And then we'll see. We'll judge the next turn. So they go Nebula in mid. Unfortunate. Our Surfer is also 4, so if we don't get a Hope Summers, we can't do a 3+ Surfer on the last turn, which is also unfortunate. Let's go Rocket Raccoon into mid, because we know that they're going to be building this one up over the next couple of turns, and so we can build it up as well, and then if we need to, we can shift our Rocket. Whoa, they're not going to build it up, okay? Maybe they're going to throw a She-Hulk here? Be possible. What if we went Gwenpool? We buff this one by 2. 4 power impact. It's either that or we go just Sebastian Shaw. But I like the prospect of doing the Gwenpool better. Rocket and Groot makes it tough for them to like want to commit to killing, which is something that I really enjoy about him. He's a super frustrating card to play against. It is a She-Hulk. Something about the skip on 3 sold me. I've been seeing a lot of high Evo. I still don't think that high Evo is... I still don't think it's where it's at. So with Surfer being kind of gimpy here, I think we go with a Forge Shaw. They could have a loot cage, which if they do, we're in for trouble. Them having like an Ajax high Evo build, if they have it, we're in for trouble. But we'll see. The double Cyclops hit. Ooh, we do get a kind of fun little US agent. US agent, Surfer to activate the Lasher to give us a little bit of offset. Now, if they have loot cage, we still lose. But if we don't, we probably win. And I'm assuming that they did not have it. We're going to go ahead and end the video there. Thank you guys, as always, for being here. This has been TLSG. Later, guys.